Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to Quill18 versus the World, specifically the Europa Universalis chapter, where we spend centuries fighting everyone in the universe. The Paradox series of games are grand strategies. They're absolutely epic in scope, and I am going to be playing through a series of them to sort of get a continuation of human history. We're going to be starting off with Europa Universalis 3, which deals with the period of time from about the year 1400 to 1800-ish. After the year 1800, a lot of things in the world have changed in terms of monarchies and empires and colonization, and that's why this game sort of ends there. And then there's a separate game, Victoria, that kind of takes over that period of time. It's dealing more with issues of trade and things like that. And the turns are a little shorter, or time passes a little more slowly. And then after that, that game stops right before World War II, and you pick up yet another game because things have changed yet again. And each one is absolutely, absolutely epic. And we are going to start with Europa, as I was saying. So this is a game that mostly revolves, there's a fair amount of conflict, depending on how you play. You don't necessarily need to work that way. Very abstracted trade, and colonization is a very, very large theme, after a short amount of time once you get the technology. You can play in these games virtually, well, not virtually, you could play basically any country that existed during this time period, from the very large and dominant to the very small and almost insignificant. And in fact, some of the very interesting play, if you're a veteran, is to take one of these single province minor nations and turning them into something very, very important and powerful. It starts off very, very historically accurate, but of course, after that, you can take it in a variety of different directions. There are a lot of really, really good options in this game, ranging, if you want to play something powerful and easy, you could play as Castile and unify Spain and then go quite far from there, since you have a large, large country and quite a lot of power. Maybe you want to go down to Africa at that point and take out a bunch of the religious wars tend to feature very heavily in this period of time, so maybe you want to lead a semi-crusade against the Muslim countries. France is extraordinarily powerful in this time period. In fact, it starts quite fractured here. This blue part is France proper, but many of these other little countries here are vassals of France. And in fact, if we go forward in time, the different scenarios, you can see France slowly gobbling up significant portions of Europe and becoming extremely, extremely powerful. Germany doesn't exist as a unified country until very recently in history, but there are many German states, part of a sort of a larger empire, but maybe you'd want to take them and try to see if you can't unify Germany earlier on. But in our particular game, we are going to be playing as England, way back in the day. And we are going to be focusing on... Now, there's no sort of win or lose. Well, I suppose there's a lose, probably. You can just get your butt kicked to the point where you are no longer a country. And at that point, you would probably lose. But there's no proper win condition exactly in this game. It's not like Civ, where you can take out all the opposing capitals or win a science victory or something like that. You mostly set your own goals in this game. Let me just check the stream, make sure everything is still going well. Of course, that's going to scroll the screen over here. Everything groovy, guys? Looks good? And yes, you can certainly play some of the states that have failed. That is totally an option. In fact, many of the states that appear on this map don't really exist as unique states anymore. A lot of the countries may have been renamed for a variety of reasons. You can see that heavily in the Middle East there have been a lot of changes. But yes, we're going to play as England, and our goal that I'm going to set, it's not a very lofty goal because I'm not very good at this game. I'm not very experienced with this game. I have tried to do some practice and do some reading up, but this is going to be my first real game of Europa. So we're going to play as England, and we are not going to deal with the continent at all. In fact, England in this period of time, we're going to start at the time of the Grand Campaign, 1399. October 14th, 1399 is as early as you can start. And at this point, we actually are going to have some holdings on the continent. We have Calais, Gascogne, and La Bourde. But we are not really going to work to hold them. In fact, I think we're probably going to give them away or try to sell them right from the beginning to try to minimize the chance that we'll get into war with France, because France is extremely powerful. Let me just check the options. I want to make sure I'm on normal everywhere. Yes, you can adjust the difficulty. There are a few different ways you can do that. The main setting, of course, is just difficulty. If you set it to easier, your stuff tends to be cheaper. Very easy, your stuff is very cheap. And then you can go into hard. It may also modify the AI a little bit and give them a penalty to combat. There's a few different things. You can look it up online if you're curious about the specifics. But I'm going to leave everything at the sort of basic normal settings, which probably means I'm going to get my butt kicked. The last caveat before we start, this is not necessarily going to be a full Let's Play, which it simply means it's not necessarily going to go until the year 1830-ish, which is, I think, as far as Europa goes. We're going to go until we feel we've accomplished a certain set of goals, and that's what we're going to call this game done, and then we'll move on to one of the others. And I'm going to try to do it mostly live streamed, but of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, you know that I'm also recording it for YouTube at that point. Let me double check that those are working properly, so I'm not lying. In fact, yes, everything is going great. So let's get started. We are going to play as England. And I hope once I get in here there's going to be some music, because it's feeling a little boring right now. If need be, I'll play some background music. Okay, let me just double check this. It's kind of weird. Master volume, let's turn you up. There we are. That should be nice. Everyone should be able to hear some tunes. Yes, colonizing the New World is going to be Plan B. And possibly some of the other classic English holdings. Or at that point, hopefully we'll have a unified sort of Great Britain at least, and possibly the entire United Kingdoms, in which case we will try to take some holdings in Africa, maybe work our way out to India, Australia, Hong Kong. We'll see. I'm not going to try to play strictly historical, but if they worked once, maybe they'll work a second time. It'd be awesome, actually, if we could steal away the Azores from Portugal. Beat them to it. That would be kind of interesting. And if I were doing a totally peaceful start, we could potentially do that. So this is the default view of the map, which I think is very, very lovely, nice and green. Beautiful sort of thing. We probably aren't going to be playing the game in this mode very often. Let me check the camera. Yeah, we're all right. We are probably mostly going to be playing in political map mode, which shows the nations colorified. And you can see here, so we've got England proper, plus Wales, plus a holding on the Irish island. We do not have Scotland. We've got Calais right over here, and we're going to look at Calais, and we're going to see one of the first functions of this game. Ownership of a country is going to be a province is going to be a very interesting theme as we play this game. Once we get into military sort of conquest, you're going to see that it doesn't work exactly like you might expect if you haven't played this game before. But the other thing is, currently we do control this country, we own this country, but it is, other countries consider this province to be one of their core provinces. They consider this to be rightfully one of theirs. In fact, Flanders has a claim here, France, England, we consider it a core province, as well as Burgundy, which is this kind of, I guess you would say, burgundy-colored nation right over here. This leads me to the second point. A major theme of this game is something called casus belli. It literally is sort of Latin for cause of war, an excuse for war. And you sort of, when you declare war, you don't just blindly declare war. You declare war and then give a reason for declaring. If you declare with no casus belli, you take a horrendous hit to your internal stability, plus possibly some other effects. It's not very good. You should go to war because you've got an excuse to go to war. And these countries all have an excuse to go to war against me because of Calais, because they want to take this over. And it also factors into the peace treaty as well. Down here we've got Gascon, which France and Guyenne, which I don't know anything about. It's probably just one of these little vassals of France. Could be it itself, actually. Yes. That's sort of what it is itself. So France considers this to be a core, which is very important. La Bourde as well, France also considers a core. France wants all three of these. It feels that they belong to it already. So there's a good chance that they're going to declare war on me regardless. And historically, this is quite accurate, I believe. And you're going to see, I don't know much about European geography or history, but I believe this is right around the time of the 100-Year War. Since I'm trying to make it a little easier, I may just sell all 3 of these off right at the beginning of the game to try to reduce the chance that they're going to declare on me. Looking at the jolly old England over here, we've got the standard grounds like I was saying. We've got Scotland up here, who I would like to take over. There's lovely Ayrshire, which I've been. Beautiful, beautiful place. If we take out some of the Scottish provinces, I believe we need, at a minimum, Lothian and Aberdeen. If we take those 2, we can enact a special event called something like Unifying Great Britain, something like that, or Form Great Britain, which will actually change the name of our country from England to Great Britain, or the United Kingdoms, one or the other, and sort of gives us all kinds of good stuff. So we're gonna try to concentrate on that as a goal. I want to minimize how much I front load. We'll explain things as we kind of go along. There are better tutorials out there than I can possibly give. Looks like down here we have 2 small armies. One has 11 regiments, that's 11,000 men, and one is just 1 regiment, so 1,000 men, which is not bad, and actually probably more than Scotland has. In fact, this is probably Scotland's only army right now with 7,000 men, which means we could easily go to war with them right now. We also have considerably more provinces, and we're considerably richer, and we have a lot more manpower to tap. We can raise a much bigger army than Scotland can, so this should be easy to take over. But Scotland's independence is guaranteed by France. If we declare war on Scotland and try to take some of their territory, France has promised to come in and intercede on their behalf. It's not great. Now, it's not the end of the world. Luckily, we do have a very large fleet parked in London right now, and we can put it in the Channel or patrol around, and basically France can muster up a lot of troops, especially with all of its vassals, but we can hopefully sink any ship they try to send over and land on our territory. So that's going to be our primary defense, is the land. On the other hand, the sort of Irish provinces are not united in any way whatsoever, and they're not very well defended, and I don't believe they have any allies or guarantees. They are very, very easy to pick off. On the other hand, it's a lot harder to reinforce them, or for us to reinforce an army over there, since we actually are going to have to park a ship in the Irish Sea, or maybe St. George's Channel, and use that ship to transport units back and forth. So, and at the same time, I would like to, say, pay attention to my economy and not go bankrupt. So we have a lot of different things, and my plan is to take the very, very easy target that is Ireland first. I don't know if it's the best way to start, but I feel like it's probably pretty easy. Oh, and the French surrender jokes start already. It's funny, isn't it? Except that France, up until basically the 20th century, was one of the most powerful, badass forces on the continent, and they are not someone you want to mess with. They do kind of get screwed over once that sort of late 1800s and the 1900s start over. They get screwed over mostly by the Germans, time and time again. So, I think before we start the game, and we haven't started yet, it's still paused. It is a real-time game. I'm gonna get rid of these provinces. I'm gonna sell them for money. Try to raise as much as I can. I am gonna sell Calais to Burgundy. Well, the interesting thing is France does consider it to be a core province. So does Burgundy. I'm going to sell it to Burgundy, and then France will probably want to go to war with Burgundy. And if it wants to do that instead of going to war with me, I'm totally fine with this. So we're going to talk to Burgundy, and there's many, many diplomatic options we've got here. We can enter into a royal marriage, declare war, have alliances, trade embargoes, trade agreements, all kinds of stuff. But I'm just going to sell a province. I'm going to sell Calais, and we're going to see how much they're willing to give me for it. Unlikely, maybe, likely. Oof. Alright, we'll try 100 there at likely. Hopefully they'll take that. So that's 1. And then we're going to get rid of Gascon, and we can... I wonder if Brittany wants it. It doesn't actually have a core on it. England, Armagnac, which is a vassal of France. Still, that's probably better than selling it to France directly. It's going to come down to who's got more money. Let's see here. How much cash you got? Oh no, you don't have enough money for that. I'm wondering if Brittany might be interested in one of these. I'm gonna try to avoid selling them all to France. I don't want to make France more powerful, and I'd like to make it want to declare war on a lot of different people. Nope, not interested. You are a vassal of France. Okay, we'll probably just sell these last two to France then. I don't know who this is. That's going to be a problem sometimes too. No, yeah, that's the independence, right? If they break off, they're just going to do that. Okay, so we'll try to sell you to France. And see how that works. Probably give me a little bit more money. Oh, yeah, likely. Let's put it down a little bit more. Hope you buy that. And I wonder if Spain might want Labourd. Or this is, sorry, not Spain. This is Castile, of course. I wonder if you might want it since it's adjacent to you. And if you and France go to war, that'll make me very happy as well. No, you're really not interested. I mean, you'd take it, but I wouldn't get much out of it. Would France still give me more? I can't sell another province yet. How about you? Aragon, who I'll probably call Aragorn at some point. No, same thing. Really not interested. You realize the side effects of taking this. Alright, we're going to let those go through, and then see if they go, and then try to sell the board to France as well, probably. You are a vassal. You are not a vassal. You're allied with Naples. Well, you want a country? Or a province? Nope. Alright. Screw it. Yeah, we'll just try to sell it to France once our diplomat finishes all that. What else are we going to do? Well, we are going to take a look at the meters up here. We're going to take a look at our shield. So this is where you can control a lot of the aspects of your country. We're currently a feudal monarchy, which can change over time. Our relations with a variety of states. We actually start off allied with Portugal, I believe. Not that Portugal's a very effective ally. Yeah. If France declares war on me, they may join up with me, or they may not. And they're kind of far away to really help. They may send ships, but I'm doubting their ability to actually assist, which is why I'm a little nervous. I think I'm going to actually... Castile, I am going to... I'm not sure about an alliance. We're not friendly quite enough for that, but maybe a royal marriage? Maybe. We'll try. What about Aragon? Maybe. Yeah, we'll try it again. It spends diplomats, but maybe I think it's worthwhile. We'll save one so we can sell that board. Hopefully those other deals go through. I'm going to take my fleet. I'm going to move it into the Irish Sea. That is not my fleet. This is good. So we're going to tell it to move to the Irish Sea. We will take our troops and move them to Lancashire. Lancashire. Oh my god, I can't pronounce English names! Because this is where the port onto the Irish Sea is. So they'll be able to use my ships because I have enough transport ships to go across there over to Meath, where we'll probably take out some more of the Scottish provinces. Okay. What else are we going to do? We'll probably build up some more troops. Not too many at this point, because I don't want to go broke with it, but a few more would be helpful. Just in case Scotland or France get some ideas, we'll have a few kicking around. I think I'll build a group of cavalry. Apparently, early on, cavalry is much, much more powerful than infantry, and that starts to change as you tech up. So for now, for sort of a roaming defensive force, I'll have a group of cavalry that'll be really good at smashing other armies. You do need infantry to lay siege, but for fighting, cavalry is better. They are a little bit more expensive, however. And, oops, that's mercenaries, not what I want. So the units we have right now, we can build Latin medieval infantry, or chevauchés. Those are my horsemen. So the cavalry are twice as expensive and take a little bit longer to build. I think we're going to be okay. We have a fair amount of money right now, and we'll look more into money soon. So I'm going to queue up. I'm going to get a group of maybe 6 of them roaming around. 6 regiments, 6,000 mounted units. Build them kind of in the middle of our country, which should be good. Those are all moving. All right, I was going to do some things over here. So here I am. I'm playing as King Henry IV of Lancaster. The great men of the court, right now we have Geoffrey Chaucer, who increases our realm's stability for free every month. Well, not for free. He has a maintenance cost, but his investment in stability is worth a lot. We'll talk about stability in a second. And I'll probably... Ooh, George Frobisher, who gives me a compete chance bonus. I'm taking this guy. We'll talk about what this does soon enough. Do we want anyone else? Tax modifier. Money is good. Discipline is helpful. Revolt risks. Trade tech investments. Actually, I think I'm going to go this way because I think we're definitely going to need some trade techs for a variety of reasons. Let's do that. Hire Richard Hudson as well. There we are. So the great men of our court. Our heir is Henry of Lancaster. He is currently 13 years old. He's got a strong claim to the throne. That's good. Henry is actually kind of a weak king. He's only got 1 star in administration, 1 in diplomacy, and negligible military skill. I could convert him into a general to lead the army, but it really wouldn't be worthwhile unless I want to get him murdered. Here is our economy tab. There are sort of 2 sets of income and economy in this game. I won't talk about it too much at this point. But this is basically where the monthly taxes go. And for now, I'm actually going to dump it all into stability. We currently have a stability of +1. +3 is the highest. And the higher your stability, you get huge bonuses. You get reduced revolt risks and a lot more merchants and trade benefits and all kinds of things. And we are going to have to do some heavy-duty trading. We're really going to try to work ourselves into a very commercial nation, especially since we're not going for militaristic kind of victory. The day after Henry takes the throne. Thank you, Eva, for that information. And yeah, it does start off as historical as possible. The different bookmarks you can take when you're setting up the game are at very significant times. So I knew October 14th must have some sort of significance, but I didn't look up what it was. This is where you choose what your sort of military units are. So if you unlock a tech that unlocks a new type of military unit, you would change it in this menu here. Like right now, I could, instead of building Latin medieval infantry, I could switch to halberd infantry, which are much better at attacking, but don't have as good defense. And if I did this, all of my infantry in the game would retool to be that. It would automatically upgrade, basically. But during that upgrade time, they would be significantly weakened. So you don't want to do that in the middle of a war. You want to do that in between things. I'm happy with the current setup, so we're going to keep that. You can also tweak the maintenance. If you're at peace, you can drop the maintenance on your military units considerably, save a lot of money. But if someone declares war on you, you might be caught with your pants down. These are religion decisions and things which may come up later. These are national ideas which are currently locked, so we won't talk about them now. You can also change your government form. I could switch to despotic monarchy if I want, but I'm going to stick with feudal monarchy. And then we've got our domestic policies here that we can set. All kinds of little meters. We get to change one of these every X number of years. There's a place I can go to find out how often I can do that. I don't remember where it is. Doesn't matter. It might be like every 10 years-ish or something. There are a few things that modify how often I can tweak these a little bit. And there's a lot of ways I want to go. Now, centralization is always good. Virtually every country there wants to become more and more centralized. Centralizes more power in government, increases all kinds of efficiency and tax modifiers and things like that. Decentralization is more where like every province sort of looks after itself, which I guess is the more, I don't know, libertarian way of doing it or something like that. But in these forms of politics, you're basically meaning you don't have a government, or it's all local government. There's just as much tyranny or whatever, but it's not organized in any way. So for this particular, the goals that we're going to try to do, it's useless. We definitely want to become centralized. Whether we want to start doing that right now is a whole other question. We can vary between aristocracy, which gives us more diplomats and cheaper cavalry, or plutocracy, which gives us more trade efficiency in spies and merchants, which is probably where we want to go in the long run. Serfdom versus free subjects, innovative versus narrow-minded, mercantilism versus free trade. Mercantilism is like is where you're very protectionist. You know, you sort of operate within your own borders and protect your own goods. And free trade is you're trading with other countries more. We probably want to go free trade. Offensive versus defensive doctrine, land versus naval focus, and quality over quantity, which affects a variety of things, but including how many troops you can muster versus how good they are, for example. I'm actually torn between centralization, which I think is good, and free trade, which I also think would be quite applicable to us. Plutocracy might help too, but frankly, I like the cheap cavalry right now. Any opinions? I'm thinking I'm going to go free trade. because I think trading is going to be important to get our economy up and running early on. Yeah, meth. I have meth. Yeah, centralization I know is very, very popular. You know what, I'm going to do that just because it'll be kind of fun if we get a little rebellion, just to show off some of the combat early on. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tick us one tick over towards centralization. Increase our efficiency, our taxes. Taxes tend to be more important than trade early on, but as you go forward, I think trade becomes more and more important part of your economy. War exhaustion, spy defense, spy efficiency. All right, one step towards centralization. The country is destabilized. Our decision to strengthen the state at the cost of regional interest has left a bit of a gap in local politics. Since there are no potentates to tell them everything is fine, the people have started to believe they are being badly governed. It's unfortunate. So we have lost some stability, which is quite poor. Again, it affects a variety of different things, actually quite a bit of things in our country. But one of the most important things short term is going to be the revolt risk. Specifically, Wales is kind of unstable, and they might, where is that? Revolt map mode. Yeah. They have a pretty good chance of rebelling. Right now, revolt's possible. Every year, there's about a 14% chance that we might get a rebellion in either one of these two countries, or provinces, so we're going to have to keep an eye on them considerably. Next tab, this is where we can hire generals and admirals, which... We have a general, actually, and we're only really going to have one army at this point, so I think we're going to be okay. We'll come back to this stuff later on. Oh, and our current mission! So, the game assigns you an appropriate mission. It's not necessarily historical, although it so happens that it is. It's based on real circumstances that are happening around here. They know that I consider Normandy to be a core province of England. And so it has assigned to me the mission of reclaiming Normandy, which I am not going to do. In fact, it wants both the province of Normandy and Caux, probably how it's pronounced, I'm not sure. Caux? I would say Caux, but I'm not sure. And again, I'm trying to avoid entanglement with France, so I'm probably not going to do that. I'll probably end up canceling the mission and seeing if it can't give me something else. Actually, I may as well do that. I'm hoping it gives me... you do lose a little prestige for canceling, unfortunately, and prestige is important. I'm hoping it gives me a more appropriate mission to what I want to do, which is to say either Scotland or Ireland. And of course, Scotland has got a complication as well because of the guarantee by France, but we'll get to that. I think that's all I want to do at this point. No! I have merchants. So, yeah, I'm not sure how much I would explain with centers of trade, but there are a variety of centers of trade throughout the world, which is where most of the countries trade. Most of my provinces trade in Lubeck, for example, but Kent trades in Antwerp. And different nations can send merchants there to try to claim some amount of the trade and make some money. So I'm going to disperse my merchants into some of these centers of trade, and I'm going to let the computer sort of handle it automatically here. I'm just going to find the listing of them right over here, sort them by value, and Lubeck is the highest value center of trade right now, and actually most of our trade goes there. I'm not sure that makes a difference, but we have a large chance of successfully displacing someone else and installing one of our own merchants there. So I will do that. I'm going to automatically make this the highest priority. I'll make Antwerp a second priority, and then we'll come back to the others later. But yeah, the game will automatically send merchants over there. The other people up here are colonists, diplomats, missionaries, spies, and magistrates, which we'll look at more. And without further ado, let's finally start the game by unpausing it. Now, by default, it's on very slow speed. If I click over here, you can... Whoa! Let's pause. Lots of events happen right at the beginning of the game. Some of my trade things. New trade station. Casus Belli. Ah, we have gained the subjugation Casus Belli against Scotland. So we can legitimately go to war with Scotland. I like it. I like it. Yes, God's will has been made clear to you. Vassalize Scotland. The Scottish kingdom is a perennial problem. Their tendency to ally with France and make mischief on the northern frontier is becoming troublesome. We must ensure that the Scottish lords pursue a more pro-English line. All right, we may leave Ireland for now, despite the complications with Scotland. We have sold Calais to Burgundy. We have sold Gascon to France. Aragon have accepted our royal marriage. as has Castile. Wonderful. So that improved our relations considerably. A whole day has gone by and we've done all these things already. And alright, I can't trade Labourd away quite yet